You look in the mirror and you see every flaw, every imperfection, every tiny thing you wish was different. Meanwhile, other people look at you and see something completely different. And this isn't just a feel-good idea. This is psychology. There's actual science behind why the people who are often the most attractive have absolutely no idea that they are. Today, we're going through 7 psychological signs that you are far more attractive than you give yourself credit for. Not based on opinion, not based on compliments, based on how human psychology actually works. Stay until sign number 6, because that one reveals the single most attractive quality a person can have, and it has nothing to do with how you look. Welcome back to The Thinking Brain. This is where we break down real psychology in a way that actually applies to your life. No fluff, no empty motivation, just honest conversations about how the human mind works. Now, attractiveness is one of the most misunderstood topics in psychology. Most people think it's purely physical, but research tells a completely different story. Let's break down the 7 signs that you are far more attractive than you realize. Sign number 1, you underestimate yourself constantly. Let's start with the most ironic one. The very fact that you don't think you're attractive can actually be one of the strongest signs that you are. There's a well-documented psychological phenomenon called the perceived attractiveness gap. Research consistently shows that attractive people tend to underestimate how they appear to others, while less attractive people tend to overestimate it. Why does this happen? Because attractive people are often more aware of beauty standards. They notice their own flaws more sharply. They compare themselves to an internal ideal that nobody else is comparing them to. The person scrolling through their own photos thinking they look terrible is often the same person everyone else thinks looks great. Your harshest critic is the voice living inside your own head, and that critic is almost always wrong. Sign number 2. People are drawn to you without an obvious reason. Have you ever noticed that people gravitate toward you in social situations? Strangers start conversations with you. People stand slightly closer than necessary. Someone you barely know remembers small details about you. And you probably brushed it off. You thought it was coincidence. But psychology says attraction often works below conscious awareness. People are drawn to individuals they find attractive, not only physically, but emotionally and socially, even when they can't explain why. Research on the halo effect shows that when someone finds you attractive, they unconsciously assume you are kinder, smarter, and more trustworthy. So people invest in you, they remember you, they seek you out, all because of an attraction they can't even articulate. If people seem to like you for no clear reason, that might actually be the reason. Sign number 3. You make people feel good when they're around you. One of the biggest misconceptions about attractiveness is that it's only about how someone looks. In reality, it's also about how someone makes others feel. Psychology research on interpersonal attraction consistently finds that warmth, the ability to make people feel seen, heard, and valued, is one of the strongest attraction signals that exists. In many studies, it's even more powerful than physical appearance. Think about the most magnetic people you know, the ones everyone wants to be around. Are they necessarily the most conventionally beautiful, or are they the people who make you feel like the most interesting person in the room when you talk to them? If people leave conversations with you feeling better than when they started, that is one of the highest forms of attractiveness psychology recognizes. How you make people feel becomes part of how attractive you are. Sign number 4. You don't notice when people check you out. This one surprises a lot of people. Highly attractive individuals often have no idea they're being looked at because they're not searching for validation. They're not scanning the room to see who's watching them. They're simply living their life. Meanwhile, someone across the room may have been staring at them for several minutes and they missed it completely. Psychologists often find that attractive people are genuinely shocked when someone expresses interest in them because their self-perception is far lower than the impact they actually have on others. If you're often surprised when someone finds you attractive, that surprise itself can be a sign. Now we're halfway through, and signs 5, 6, and 7 are the ones that truly change how you see yourself, especially sign number 6, because psychology says it may be the single most attractive quality a person can have, and it has nothing to do with how you look. Sign number 5, you are deeply authentic. You say what you actually think. You don't perform for approval. You are the same person in private that you are in public. That might not sound like a physical attractiveness trait, but psychology says authenticity is one of the most powerful attraction signals that exists. Research consistently shows that people are magnetically drawn to individuals who feel real. In a world full of carefully curated personas, authenticity stands out. People are not attracted to perfection. They are attracted to realness. Authenticity is rare, and rare things are always attractive. Sign number 6, you have quiet, unshakable confidence. This is the one that changes everything. Not loud confidence, not arrogance, not the person who walks into a room announcing themselves. The quiet kind, the kind that simply exists. Psychology research across dozens of studies points to one quality above all others when it comes to attraction: self-assurance, the ability to be comfortable in your own skin, to not need constant validation to feel whole. People are neurologically drawn to individuals who seem settled in themselves because it signals security, strength, and emotional stability. And here's the irony. The people who have this quiet confidence are often the same people who don't think they're anything special. They're not trying to be magnetic. They simply are. And that effortlessness is exactly what makes them so powerful. Sign number 7, you are genuinely kind without needing credit. You help people without announcing it. You remember small things about others. You show up when someone needs support, not because someone is watching, but because that's simply who you are. Research consistently shows that genuine kindness increases perceived attractiveness over time. Psychologists sometimes call this the halo of goodness effect. When someone sees you as a good person, your brain literally upgrades how attractive they perceive you to be, not metaphorically, neurologically. Beauty fades, kindness compounds, and the most attractive people in any room are often the ones who have both. So, how many of those signs sounded like you? Here's the most important thing to remember. The way you see yourself in the mirror is not an accurate reflection of how others experience you. Your brain is wired to notice flaws and minimize strengths. Psychology calls this the self-attractiveness bias, and it affects almost everyone. But it hits hardest on the people who are actually the most attractive, because they are often the most self-aware, the most self-critical, and the least likely to accept compliments. Real attractiveness is not just a face, it's warmth, authenticity, quiet confidence, and the way people feel when they are around you. If you've spent years underestimating yourself, it might be time to update the story you've been telling yourself, because the version you've been believing was never accurate. Which sign felt most like you? Drop it in the comments. I genuinely want to know. And if you know someone who constantly underestimates themselves, share this video with them. Sometimes people need to hear the truth from science before they believe it from someone who cares about them. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.